You want to stop a cyber attack? Well, first, you've got to understand exactly how it happens, step by step. And it turns out, most attackers, believe it or not, follow a pretty predictable playbook. Knowing that playbook, well, that's the key to beating them. And today, we're going to tear it apart.
I mean, it's the big question in cybersecurity, right? Threats are getting more sophisticated, more complex, pretty much every single day. So, where do you even start?
And the answer is actually a really powerful, kind of simple idea that's behind one of the most foundational frameworks in all of cyber defense. Instead of just waiting around and reacting, you get inside the attacker's head. You map out their entire process from start to finish.
Okay, to really get why this is so critical, let's go inside a Security Operations Center, or SOC. Just picture it. A team of analysts glued to their screens 24/7, and they are facing this constant, relentless storm of alerts. It's incredibly high stakes, and it never, ever stops.
The real challenge for these teams is to turn all that chaos into some kind of clarity. Analysts have to have a method, a repeatable process to understand what they're seeing, and, more importantly, how to act on it. Because without a clear game plan, it is way too easy to miss the real threats that are hiding in all that noise.
And this is exactly where our framework comes into play. It's called the Cyber Kill Chain, and it provides the precise structure that security teams need to make sense of an attack while it's actually happening. Now, don't think this is just some boring textbook theory. The kill chain is a seriously practical tool. Think of it this way. By breaking an attack down into phases, you're giving the defenders multiple opportunities to interrupt a process. You're giving them multiple chances to win before the attacker ever reaches their final goal.
What's really fascinating is that this whole idea didn't even start with computers. It actually began on the battlefield. It was a military strategy for disrupting an enemy's plan of attack. Then, in 2011, the defense contractor Lockheed Martin brilliantly adapted it for the digital world. And today, it's still a cornerstone of modern cyber defense.
All right, so let's crack open this playbook. The classic cyber kill chain is broken down into 7 distinct stages, and each one builds directly on the one before it.
Okay, let's walk through it. It all starts with reconnaissance. This is the attacker acting like a spy, just quietly gathering intel on their target. From there, they move to weaponization. Here, they're like an engineer, building their malicious tool, say a Word doc laced with malware. Then comes delivery, which is getting that weapon to the target, usually through something like a phishing email. Exploitation, that's the big moment. The code actually runs and it takes advantage of a system weakness. If that works, they try installation, which is basically planting malware on the system so they can come back anytime they want. And finally, they set up command and control, which is a secret channel that lets them remotely control that compromised machine.
And all of that, every single one of those steps, it all leads to this, the end game, actions on objectives. This is the whole reason they went to all that trouble in the first place. It could be stealing sensitive data, deploying ransomware, or just causing pure chaos. This is where the damage actually happens.
But you know, in today's world, the story doesn't always end there. Not anymore. A lot of experts now add an 8th stage, monetization. Because, let's be real, most cybercrime is a business. This is the part where the stolen data gets sold on the dark web or the ransom payment is actually demanded.
Okay, so that's the theory, but how does this actually help a security team when, things are hitting the fan? Let's walk through a super common phishing attack and see the kill chain in action.
So here we go, we're jumping in at stage 3, delivery. A really well-crafted phishing email pops into an employee's inbox. It looks totally legit, maybe an invoice, maybe an urgent HR notice, and it has a Word doc attached. The trap is officially set.
And what do you think happens? Yup, someone clicks. The employee opens the file, and just like that, we're in stage 4, exploitation. A hidden macro inside that document executes, and it exploits a vulnerability to run malicious code. The attacker is now on the inside.
But this is where the defense kicks in. A modern security tool, something called an endpoint detection and response tool, or EDR, is watching everything. It's like a security guard on that computer. It sees the shady macro trying to run, recognizes it's not allowed to do that, and immediately shuts it down.
And boom, that's it. That right there is the whole point. The chain is broken. The attack got stopped right there at the exploitation phase. The malware never got installed, no remote control was set up, and 0 data was stolen. You don't have to stop everything, you just have to break one link to win.
This is why modern security teams literally build their entire defense around this model. Your SIEM platform, That's your lookout tower, sifting through mountains of data to spot the early signs of reconnaissance. The EDR tool we just talked about, those are your troops on the ground, on every device, ready to stop exploitation and installation. And a SOAR platform? That's your automated defense system ready to instantly block any traffic trying to phone home to a command and control server. It's a defense in layers, all mapped to the attacker's own playbook.
But, okay, let's be honest. This model was designed back in 2011. The world of cyber threats today looks, well, a lot different, a lot more complex. And that forces us to ask a pretty tough question.
Is a framework that's over a decade old really the right way to think about cyber defense in today's world? Or has it kind of become obsolete?
And look, there are some really fair criticisms here. For one, the kill chain is super linear, right? But real attackers are chaotic, they jump back and forth between stages. It was also designed for an old-school world of malware and network perimeters, which makes it way less effective against threats that are already inside the cloud, or insider attacks where somebody already has valid credentials.
These gaps are exactly why other frameworks have gotten so popular, especially MITRE ATT&CK. Think of it like this. The cyber kill chain tells you the high-level story of an attack, the what and the when. But MITRE ATT&CK, that's like the giant, detailed encyclopedia of how the attack happened. It's the nitty-gritty. So the kill chain will tell you an attacker reached the installation stage. ATT&CK will tell you they did it by creating a scheduled task or hiding a script in the Windows registry. It's that level of detail.
So at the end of the day, it's not about the kill chain versus ATT. That's just the wrong way to look at it. The best, most mature security teams use both of them together, hand in hand. They use the kill chain for the big picture strategic story of an attack. And then they dive into MITRE ATT&CK for the deep technical details they need to build better defenses.
Which leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. We have the attacker's playbook, we have these huge knowledge bases detailing all of their techniques, so as our defenses get smarter and more tuned in to their methods, how are the attackers going to adapt? What does the next evolution of this constant cat-and-mouse game even look like?